Hey everyone, this is Living Dead Gal and welcome back to another Sims 4 video. Welcome to the channel if you are new. Today we are back in my favorite place, CAS, and I am doing the next installment in the realistic Townie Makeover series. As you can see here, yes, I am making my way to the Goth family. So we're starting off with Mortimer Goth for this video. Next week will be Bella. I am kind of working through Willow Creek, so I had started with the Pancakes, and I was super nervous to do the Pancakes because they're so iconic, but I'm like triple times as nervous to do the Goths because while the Pancakes are iconic for The Sims 4, the Goths have been around since the start of the entire franchise, and so they're pretty much like everyone's favorite family. They're very loved. There's so much lore and so much history with them, and you know, so many different kind of preferences on like which version of them do you prefer from which game. So I definitely am intimidated. But once I kind of got in and did Mortimer's makeover, I had a lot of fun with it, and I really like how he turned out, and I hope that you all will too. So to kind of explain a little bit, I am someone who I played the original Sims game back when I was a kid, so The Sims 1. I did not really play beyond that. So Sims 2 and 3, I kind of missed those days back when they were like popular and like just released. And I returned to The Sims for The Sims 4 probably about like maybe 6 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now, is when I kind of got back into the franchise with The Sims 4. And so I kind of missed out on a lot of the lore and a lot of the history of these characters in The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. I do remember them from the original game, but just kind of vaguely, because again, I played that back when I was a lot younger. So I definitely did a little bit of reading up on, you know, sort of the different versions of each of these characters that you kind of saw throughout the different games. And for Mortimer, he's definitely different in each game, right? You know, even like as far as his age. So in designing him, like, or redesigning him, I guess, like with this makeover, I wanted to make sure that I kind of picked a version, and I decided to go with, since we are in The Sims 4, I wanted to make sure I kind of stuck with the version of him that you see in The Sims 4. Even though there's maybe not as much lore or as much story to him here, I just kind of wanted to just pick one to be kind of consistent with. And so in this game, he is actually a freelance writer. He's a bookworm, he's creative, he's outgoing. So I definitely wanted to kind of go for these like writer vibes, like maybe borderline like preppy hipster with him, but I stopped myself before I went too hipster. Hopefully you haven't turned the video off yet. So anyway, as far as his like structure, like his physical appearance, it took me a really long time to pick out a skin detail that I liked, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to keep the wrinkles that were on his face. I kept the same wrinkles that were on his forehead. The lines on his cheeks, those wrinkles, I ended up going with like a slightly more subtle version, like a CC version that I had, just because, you know, I didn't think, like at the age that he is and the age his kids are, I thought, you know, give or take, he could have slightly lighter wrinkles, because I think he's got like 23 or 24 days until he actually ages into an elder. So I figured, you know, I'll go a little bit lighter on that, and that would be something that could kind of deepen over time. His facial hair, though, that actually took me quite a while to find something that I liked, because I originally was trying to just match like his mustache, but all of the CC mustaches I had and the more realistic ones I had were like too thin. They weren't like iconic enough, and I was so tempted, let me tell you, to go like full steampunk with him, but I stopped myself. I almost gave him a mustache like that, but I ended up picking out this set with like a mustache and a goatee, and I actually thought that that looked really nice with his chin and his like bone structure. So hopefully that doesn't bother anyone too much, because I was trying to keep him similar to his in-game self, but just a more realistic alpha version, but it was a little bit tricky. His hair was super easy. I found something very quickly that matched. For his clothes, again, I wanted to go for this sort of like I'm a writer type of vibes and something a little more modern than what you see in game, except for his formal wear. For his formal wear, I went a little bit weird because I was like, well, it is the Goth family. So I picked this suit. I don't know, I tried it on him and I kind of fell in love with it, and I was like, it kind of feels like a classic, like a callback to kind of like his older versions, and even though, you know, it looks more of like something like maybe like a vampire would wear or something, I just thought it was cool because it's the Goth family, and so I wanted something kind of gothic that looked like that. I stuck with a lot of red and black for them because that's just kind of like the color scheme that I think we all tend to think of when we think of the Goths. I mean, Bella and her iconic red dress. I did kind of go with like some more of like burgundy reds for Mortimer, and I'll probably, when I do Bella, do a mix of like burgundy and bright red. But for him, I went for that more like muted, like burgundy deep red. For his like looks though, I definitely wanted stuff that was like more put together. Like his athletic wear, I gave him something that looked a little bit more like, I don't imagine that Mortimer's like a huge athlete necessarily based on his traits, but I do kind of imagine that, you know, he likes to be cleaned up and neat and take things seriously. One thing I did do is for his PJs, I actually gave him two versions. I gave him like what I would call the dad pajamas, where it's like a standard pajama set that kind of reminds me of like the Pajamas and Don't Wake Daddy, that board game, if anyone ever played that. And then I gave him another one that was just like some Tommy Hilfiger boxer briefs, because I thought that's like for, you know, when the kids are away and him and Bella are home together. So that is my line of thinking. I will do the same thing with Bella. So these will be the first ones that I've given like 2 sets of pajamas to. I don't know if like anybody else does that. For some reason, for me, when I give my Sims multiple outfits, a lot of times I give them many sets of pajamas. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you can definitely see like the vibe that I went for with his clothes overall. It's definitely very color themed, very like neat, polished, put together types of looks for him. But you know, not like anything too preppy or too hipster. I almost like went down a hipster steampunk route, as I said, but I like stopped myself. I was like, no, that's not Mortimer. That doesn't feel like Mortimer. It's just that his face structure and his features work so well for that type of look, but it's just not him and it's not his vibe, so I stopped myself. But yeah, I tried to kind of get things like as close within, you know, kind of a mix of his original style and a modern look that I kind of thought was fitting for a freelance writer, and that also kind of felt this vibe of like the Goth family that we all know and love. So anyway, I've been rambling all of my nonsense. We are getting pretty close to the end of this video. I hope that you guys like how I've styled Mortimer. I hope that my weird line of thinking on his style and how he looks makes sense. If you enjoyed this video, please just give me a thumbs up down below. That really helps me out and lets me know that you would like to see more of this type of content. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye! When you're kissing my neck.